Hello and welcome. It's a good day to be on the farm. My name is Chuck, and this is Riverview, episode 5. In the last episode, we came out here and spread fertilizer on this field 8 and then field 9 down there, and now we're getting ready to spread lime as well. We actually didn't have any way to get lime on the map, so we put a lime fill station here on our homestead on the farmyard, but we put it kind of up in the back, so we still got to drive forward a little bit. But we don't have to drive across town for it. So I've got the lime full now. It actually loads really slow. So, I mean, I was sitting there for over a full minute just to get this 14,000 liters in here, which is fine. But anyway, so I came back down to the field, and we're going to go ahead and get some lime going on these. I'd like to start planting them here in September, but we obviously needed to get the pH settled first, so we're going to do that now. So hang in there with me as we get this going. Again, this is the same spreader we used. Sorry about that tree. Pull forward a little bit. This is the same spreader that we used for the fertilizer. We just are using it for lime now, and we did dump a little bit of fertilizer out in a bag that we'll have to go collect next time we fill it for fertilizer. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and spread this like so. And of course I overestimated, so let's get over to the right and even that out on our map. And we're gonna stop here and we'll drive around this tree. And this is way easier to do before we start planting these two fields, because we'd be driving over the edge of all of those. So in that, again, you saw it turn off for a second there and then turn back on. That's because we do have precision farming on now. Number one, that gives us a little map in the lower left-hand corner that shows us our spread values as we're trying to put this pH, this lime on here to increase the pH. Number two, when it detects that we don't need any spread, it will actually just stop that spreading. And so that's what it did when we turned there before. Here we're actually going to square off rather than driving into the bushes like I did in the last episode. It's probably better to stop before the end of the field and make that adjustment here on the fly. And this lime is actually lasting longer than it normally does, so I guess the pH level was better than maybe I thought on this field, because we still are at 92%. Normally if I had covered this much of a field already, we would be much lower. Lime spreads fast. I guess these fields aren't that big, but still spreads real fast. So if we're using lime, I was expecting to maybe have to refill this between these two fields, but I think we're actually going to be able to get the liming done on 8 and 9 this afternoon without having to refill the tanks. Come all the way to the edge here. And then we'll try to get a little bit caught up here that we missed. Spread a little bit there, and then it'll turn off for a second, and it'll turn back on when we're in the main field like so. So yeah, this precision farming is really nice. You don't spend anywhere near as much money on fertilizer and lime once you're up and running. Initially, when you're doing this to your fields in the beginning, you still have that outlay of, well, this hasn't been fertilized in forever, or this needs a ton of lime, or whatever it may be. But after this initial one, it's just a little bit of upkeep between crops every season. So again, in the old, I'm not going to say, I don't know if old is the right way to put it. In the previous version of Farm Sim 22, before precision farming, you would only have to lime every 2 or 3 crops. So I think that's what this is emulating. Like, you don't need a lime between every planting, but you can watch your pH levels, and if they start to get into the red, then you can go ahead and do this to help increase your yields. And the nice thing too is that these costs are going to be calculated into our overall yield profit statement that we get for each field. So when we're done with this field, we'll pause for a second and we'll take a look at that precision farming tab in our menu. and kind of go from there. So I'm going to stop there. So in our menu, under precision farming, number one, these are the two that we did for nitrogen. That's fertilizer, last episode. We've got harvest data up here, soil types, and then here's our soil information for pH. You can see this one is just a little bit more green than it was before, and it might take us a couple of steps to get there. But you can also click on select a field, and it's going to give us our economic analysis. So on this field 8, we haven't harvested anything yet, but our soil samplers were 1,200. We just put 2,716 liters of lime on there, so that was $611. We put $1,300 of fertilizer on here. We're maintaining our vehicle. It just went from 200 to 201 because I'm leaving it running while I'm talking, and we've used a little bit of an AI helper on this at one point in time. So our total costs are negative 3,376 and rising. But again, once we get a yield off of those, like up here, this one we didn't put any fertilizer or lime on it yet, but we did harvest off of it, and we made $3,000 roughly. So we had costs of $1,600. Total earnings was $5,000. So, and that's based on, I think, today's prices. So if we hold on to that, well, actually, this one was, I think we have this in our silo still, so that number might go up. So I don't know. If you do watch these, binge watch them all at once, and you get to where we sell that, let me know if that number rose in the comments. But anyway, I won't remember to look at that because that will be weeks from now by the time that is uploaded, but we'll go from there. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on this field down here. And we should have plenty of lime if the last field was any indication to get these two up and running. And then it is already 3:30. It'll be after 5 by the time we're done liming, so I guess we will probably start planting in September 2. So this is also a map where we're doing 2-day months instead of 1-day months, to help avoid any catastrophes with the weather and the rain and things like that affecting our ability to harvest on some days. But we also doubled the speed. So we used to be at a 5 times speed, now we're at 10. So again, our days are much shorter. So yeah, let me know how that's going for you. I kind of really like it actually, but I'd love to hear what your feedback is while you're watching these. If you preferred the really long days that were broken up into 2 or 3 episodes, and kind of the stress of, can I get it all harvested in this day because this is the only day I have for August or September or whatever, or if this is more realistic because obviously the crops wouldn't immediately withered if I waited till the very next day to harvest them. My yield might go down a little bit, but I don't know. This is just kind of nice. The jobs seem a little bit smaller in this context because I'm basically just trying to see what can I get done today real quick, and then before you know it, it is already tomorrow, and we just keep working that way. So let's see if this turns off. Oh no, we got caught on the tree. So focused on turning around that I drove right into a tree, and we're gonna have to fold this up to get out of here. Got myself good right stuck on that tree. I do like the trees on this farmyard. It makes it look pretty realistic to what I've seen from farms, and also helps delineate the fields, but does make it harder to see what you're doing and kind of get around. But that makes me feel like this is a more established, older farm too, because of the size of these trees. A lot of the maps that I work on don't have a ton of trees between the fields, so you're just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and that makes it feel like, I don't know if you guys have ever been in like a new development where they're building houses, and the new development, like, people just barely have grass on the yards, They don't have any trees, any big trees yet. Everything just looks open and new. That's kind of what some of those other maps feel like. So this does feel like a much more established farmyard because of these trees and the fences and just kind of the way that whole yard is set up. And there's just so much storage in there for all of our different equipment. There's even a shed down here between field 7 and 8 where I could park this lime spreader if I wanted while we're working on some other things. And I might do that just to kind of show you, because that's one we haven't even, I mean, you might have seen it in the background, but we haven't parked anything there yet because none of our initial equipment was actually stored up there. So yeah, I guess we'll go across here once, and then we'll loop around and head up the field. So I guess the next question should be, what are we going to plant on these two fields? Obviously it's September. I believe September and October are winter wheat and barley season in game, so that's probably what we would do. I did want to maybe get one more grass field that wasn't one of the pastures, because I do, since we're focusing on being a rancher and having cattle, we just need as much hay as we can get our hands on to feed them. So that is another consideration that we have, is, you know, the crops are here just mainly to give some variety and some feed for the chickens and to create straw for our TMR once we start making it. But we don't actually need, I mean, we have all this equipment, so maybe it makes sense to farm, but we don't, like, we're not farming for cash so much as we're farming for some of the byproducts, which is nice because we can sell off all that and it's just a little extra income or kind of offsets. But we're not going to make it rich on this farm by farming these 4 little fields. You know, we couldn't even fill up halfway of our tipper with was that canola that we took off that one field? So again, it'll be kind of a work in progress to see, but obviously a couple of like wheat or barley down here would be probably pretty nice, give us quite a bit of straw to work with later, which we will want for bedding for the cows to help create that manure, and then eventually for mixing in the TMR. So whether we get it in the forage wagon like we did in the first couple of episodes, or if we break down and start baling it, so we can mix it in, that's an option too. So I don't know, maybe this big one we'll do barley or something like that, but I was thinking about making field 8 a grass field just so we can get a mow on early next year, but I don't know that that's even going to be necessary. Alright, so let's go ahead and we're going to fold this up because it is pushing 5 o'clock. It's like 4:45 now. So we're just going to pull this in here. You guys will have to help remind me when I can't find that later. And so let's drive up here and take a look for our seeder and see which tractor we want to put that on. Right now I'm doing most of this on the Kloss, which is fine. Here is our, oh yeah, we hooked our rock picker up to our Valtra because we weren't probably going to use that. So let me see. We can roll the field there. That's our tedder. Sorry for all the camera switching. We're just going to zoom in here. there's our baler hooked up to the Massey Ferguson. Where is our equipment? I know I saw it. Oh, so here's our front loader arms, our cultivator, our subsoiler, and here's our seeder. And since those are already cultivated, this would be the next kind of step for us here. And this is, funnily enough, this is a 4-meter, right? Let me check. Our seeder is, yeah, this Kuhn Ventra 4030. No, I don't want to sell it. Holds 1,800 liters, 60 horsepower, 4 meters wide. Yeah, this is the same seeder that I have on my Erlengrot series, so we'll use it for now because it's what they gave us. But we might do something a little bit different in the future with this just to change it up. But whatever, we're going to just park this up here. We do need to get some seeds in here. I don't want to spend 27,000 on seeds. 1,000 liters, 900, 2,000 liters. Yeah, let's just buy 2,000 liters for now. So we've got some in there for tomorrow. And then to round out the rest of the daylight for today, let's take this rock picker back and sell that off because we have turned off field stones on this. Oh, I love seeing the cows out in the pasture. That makes it feel real good. This is not the quickest way out of Dodge, but we'll take it. Get a nice view of our cows. Get a nice view of the 2 fields that we already harvested. Whoa, that slid around that corner a little bit. This must be a heavy piece of machinery back here, which it probably is. And we'll just come around, and then, so here's our 2 fields that we just limed today. So those are going to be ready to plant first thing tomorrow morning, on September 2nd. And we're going to take a look at our loan as well. Where does this road go? Over to field 6, which is not our field. Maybe we'll take a look at that later. And here's the river you can see off to our right. This is the river that we are viewing in Riverview Farms. It's the same one we have to drive this little bridge over. And there's this little path too that goes up into the woods or something. So maybe we'll do some exploring on our land a little bit later. I wonder if those are forestry areas. But regardless, we will just run down to the shop, sell this off. And I was thinking about paying back 5,000 of the loan just to kind of get us started, but I might actually hang on to that because we still are going to have to buy spray later, herbicide, depending. So that's one thing we need to consider. And I mean, yes, we would pay a little interest and we could borrow it later, but maybe we just try to hold firm at the 60,000 with the equipment that we're selling off too, and see if anything good comes up in the sales. So let's drop that off here. Come over here, and the value is 29,000, which is pretty good. Repair is $3. Well, let's go up to better than 576. 577, so paid 3 to get 4. Let's go ahead and repaint it. Same deal. Yep, 30,000, and we'll sell that off. And let's just take a quick look at the deals again. So here's that Brantner trailer. Our tipper we have right now is huge, but there's nothing really wrong with that. This Brantner is the one I'm using on my Erlengrot series as well, and I do really like it over there. It seems to be about the right size for that New Holland. But no point in spending $9,000 on a tipper when we have a silo and we have a tipper. So that is that. This is transports liquids. Don't really need that. And telehandler. Yeah, there's really nothing that I know of that we need right now. So we're going to drive this little tractor back up to the farm and up to the farmhouse right as the sun's going down, and then we'll fast forward to the next day in September and we'll get busy planting. And we'll have to look and see what our horsepower requirement is for that, because I think that's one that runs the harrow and also runs the seeder, which is what we've been sort of dealing with on our other farm recently, which was kind of how to manage that, because we want to do cultivating can bring up rocks, but it also lowers your score. There's like a farming efficiency score in this precision farming. I forget what it's called exactly off the top of my head. So part of this is not plowing as much. We don't want to dig super deep. We want to just kind of strip the topsoil or direct drill, and those things will help us get a better score, so our yield will eventually go up a little bit higher and our bonuses with it. So that's something we're going to work towards slowly, but probably not on this first batch. Is this the route up? No, that goes to that cow shed, I'm pretty sure. We need to jump over here. And speaking of our cows, why don't we just jump out real quick and make sure they've got 56,000 liters of food, 36,000 liters of straw. They're doing just fine, and our chickens are also probably doing okay. Yeah, 14,000 liters of that. And we've got our first couple of cartons of eggs sitting over here. We've made 70 pieces of egg. So 70 pieces of egg from that. So moving forward. And then again, we talked about this earlier, looking at that telehandler in the sale. We have a telehandler, we have a wheel loader. I'm going to have to play around with that wheel loader, see if that's something we want to keep long term, because I think I might rather sell that and get a forklift for dealing with some of those pallets, like those egg pallets and various things we're going to make around the farm. So we'll shut that off here and just take a quick look at what we got going on. So we're going to go ahead and wake up at 8 in the morning tomorrow as well. Grabbing a drink while this is switching to the next day. So we lost $100 for loan interest and $873 for property maintenance. Not terrible, but we certainly need to be bringing in income to offset that, because that's going to be a daily thing, and now that we're 2 days a month, that's 24 times a year instead of 12. So if that really is 24,000 that we're going to lose just for keeping everything running, that might be an issue. Not a big issue, but you know, an issue nonetheless. All right, so let me get in here and take a look at our animals. So our brown Swiss cows are doing great. They are 1 month old. Oh, because we didn't switch to October yet. But their health is 100%. Still got 55,000 liters of food. Still got a lot of hay. So I think it might be time to add some more cows. We did get quite a bit for selling that rock picker, and we seem to be maintaining with the cows. I think we're going to do that. I think we're going to come down here before we start seeding and just buy another group of cows. So let's keep the dairy theme running, but let's get Holstein this time so we can keep them, tell them apart. So Holstein, and we're going to get 60 of those, so another 15,000. And that's 120. Yeah, I was thinking maybe we buy 120 of those and we have 180 cows just like we have 180 chickens, but I don't think we're there yet. I want to keep this 18,000 just till we get our fields going a little bit more. And we'll keep adding cows as often as we can, but we're not going to make that a big focus this early till we, mow again, get some more hay, and get moving forward that way. Which front loader is that? Is that the front loader that goes on here for the bales? I think it is. We're going to go ahead and just park this up here. Alright, so we need to get seeding today. And that equipment is over here. And we did buy 2,000 seeds, 2,000 liters of seeds, so we're going to open this up. And I think this holds 1,800. So that should leave us 200 liters of seed now. And we can do wheat or barley on this field down here. And wheat is what we've got loaded up now, so why don't we just stick with that. We'll start with wheat. Maybe we'll do wheat on 8 and barley on 7. Both of those will make straw for us. So as you can see up in the upper left now, there's a variable seed rate as well. And this is going to tell us kind of how many seeds we're using. We've got it set on auto, which is what I recommend if you're new to this, as I am, because it can get confusing to not seed properly, and that can affect some of your yield thing. So real quick, I want to look in my I want to look in our garage. So this is Claas is considered a small tractor, but it's 205 horsepower. I don't think we need to jump to this one to 225 just to seed, because we're only doing 4 meters at a time. But our seeder requires 60, but then we also have a power harrow attached that requires 160. So that's 160 plus 60 is 220, and that is not what we've got here. This is 205. So yeah, if we're going to run both of these, we're going to want the Massey. So that is my mistake for not checking that before we were down here, but that's just fine. We're actually just going to run this one up and park it up here with the spreader. And I kind of backed this spreader in. Oh, I didn't actually back it in, but I mean I put it in a kind of a uncomfortable spot. I'm not sure we're going to be able to get it out without some fancy driving. Well, maybe we will. Alright, I just want to park this here, but I wanted to make sure I could get it out. So we're going to come up here for the Massey. Turn that on. Open this up. Is that attached? Yes, it is. So we're going to detach that. And I don't think we need the weight. I think this tractor will do it just fine without the weight. Where are we? Oh, that goes up to the other cow shed, so we're down here. So we're going to take this and run down the hill, pick up that seeder and get started. I love the way this Massey sounds. It's got like a nice deep purr to that tractor, so. And I hear a helicopter. Can we see a helicopter anywhere? Oh, it's gone now. I heard a helicopter. I thought. Alright, so yeah, we'll do wheat on this first one, barley on the next one, and then we will start working those other fields here shortly. Alright, so this is going to lower that. And we should be able to just... And we're on wheat. Yes, we are. So we should be able to just turn that on and get this going. Is that doing it? How come it's not changing it? This, I swear, this seeder has given me more trouble on my videos than... Yeah, we're not planting. Why are we not planting? No seeds are coming out. We're not doing anything to that soil. Nothing is happening. I don't understand. I had the same issue on Erlengrot. This seed, I mean, this field is cultivated, I'm 90% sure. It's Loamy Sam, Sammy Loam, ready to go. Do we really need to run a cultivator over it before we do this? And that is what it's seeming like. Alright, back to the drawing board. Sorry about this, folks. It's a learning process. We learn as we go. This cultivator requires, it is a 5 meter, and it requires 180 horsepower. So technically our Kloss could do this. So we're going to run a quick test. Let me back up, park this up here. Let's flip to this one. We're going to leave that here. We're going to run up to the yard and grab that cultivator and come down here. And just see about cultivating that into... We just need to change the field state. So actually, let's see, we've got... This is the cultivator, it's 5 meters. This one is... What is this? Is this a harrow? This is a subsoiler. Subsoiler prepares the field for the next sowing. It can be used instead of a plow. And that requires 130. But that is only 4 meters. So we could use the subsoiler, or we can use the cultivator, which requires 180. Now maybe we'll Alright guys, let's just run an experiment here, because I need to learn the difference with you guys. We've got here is a cultivator that is 5 meters. And I know cultivating will probably prepare the soil to where we can seed right into it. But I want to see if that subsoiler will do the same. So I'm actually going to, and I shouldn't have parked right there if I was going to do this, but no, we don't need to unfold it, we just need to lower it. Let's just back up into this corner and drop this cultivator here and see what happens. So yeah, this is changing the soil. And we're able to drive 8 or 9 miles an hour with this and get this field going. And let me check the map here. Yeah, that's making it a cultivated status. And cultivated will allow us to plant, so that's pretty good. Yeah, now we're up to the edge. We were missing just a little bit there. We're going to do a lap around with this. Because this is a bit curvy and wonky. But we're going to cultivate this lower field, field 7. I kept calling it field 9, I apologize for getting those numbers confused. We're going to cultivate field 7 and then try to plow into, or try to seed into that. And then we're going to actually use that subsoiler on field 8 and see if we can plant right into that. So we're going to just test different ways for preparing the soil here to see what works. What's going to work for us. So I thought this was cultivated, but it wasn't. It was just dirt. Oh, got a little bit of rain. Wonder how long that's going to go. As long as it doesn't start raining too hard, and we've got sunshine this afternoon, we should be able to keep going. But if it gets pouring too hard, we'll have to go ahead and stop and wait for that rain to end. So I'm going to go ahead and put this guy on a worker now. And let him run back and forth. I need to get this guy out of the way. So I'm just going to pull him over here and park him up here. And then we're going to switch to our third tractor because this this required less horsepower for this subsoiler, and so we're actually going to get all 3 of these tractors going just because we can. So we're going to grab this subsoiler here and see if we can subsoil and then plant directly into that, or if we subsoil like this, if this is going to cause an issue where we might have to subsoil then cultivate, which is fine, but obviously would slow us down a little bit. So we'll come down here, and I think there's enough room to turn around on all of these that we don't really need to even do a headlands. And 8's a little bit smaller anyway, so we'll just come down here and subsoil this. And that is going to give us a slightly different, let me turn on the lights, different field status that actually looks a lot similar to what we're doing over there. So I think both of these will work, in which case we'll have to decide which one we want to keep. This one is 4 meters and our smallest tractor can do it without too much trouble. So that might be a vote for subsoiling versus cultivating, and I believe subsoiling affects your score less. This is why I wanted to do both of them next to each other. So on your precision farming, once I headed back the other direction, I'll pull it up and try to show you guys. But it will rate your environmental score. And I guess it's not great for the environment to always plow your fields, and that's why they're asking for more direct drill and promoting things that do that a little bit more. So on our precision farming, each field can I deselect? There we go. So an environmental score of 51. Maybe I'm not. So here our score is 57, 56. So we scored 1 higher so far on this one, I was afraid I was at the end of the field, so let me turn around and then I will go back and show you that other way. So that's a nice clean soil to plant in that's been limed and fertilized and ready to go. 270, right about there. So yeah, look, we've got 50 and 50 up here where all we've done is harvest. Here we've done some work and we're at 56, 57. As we're working through, these scores will go up. Here we're only at a 42, but all we did was mow it. So yeah, we want to get these scores higher than we can. And environmental score details, we're getting 7 points for nitrogen, so much for sampling, so much for tillage, so on and so forth. So all of these things sort of factor in, and then you'll get a yield bonus. I'm going to turn on a worker here, and we're going to switch to this, and the rain is picking up. Let me check the weather real quick. Rain until noon. No, rain at noon. At 1 o'clock we should get sunshine, and it's only 11. Do I just let those workers go for a couple hours? They seem to be doing fine. 7 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour. I know you start to slow down in the rain a little bit, but I don't know if it's significant. Well, let's just see about our planting. We should be able to get both of these planted today, I would think. They're not that terribly big. So this is where we tried to plant before and we weren't able to. So we've got wheat, and if we check our map, so see, they're giving us different field statuses. This is cultivated is on field 7, and a seedbed is on field 8. So our subsoiling actually gives us a seedbed, where our cultivating only gives us a cultivated status. And I don't know if one of those is better than the other or not. But we're going to go ahead and just see, for the sake of making sure we've got the right answer here. If we can plant in here. So we're going to go ahead and just lower this, turn it on, and it's going down. Our seed counter is going down, so I think we're planting. Let's just get a little bit of a strip done here. Now the hard thing about this is I can't really see the difference. I guess there's tiny little rows, but that's about it. So let's look. And so now we've got this light green for growing. So if we turn off our seed bed, you can see there's a green strip that we've planted. So let's turn that off. And let's, whoops, I turned off my tractor. What I meant to do was turn off just the seeder. So we planted a little bit there. Let's just come over here. I'm just, for curiosity's sake, gonna turn over and plant on this next field as well. So we're gonna switch to barley, which we just did. And we're gonna plant right here and see if we can plant in cultivated status just like we can for the other status. So let's go ahead and lower that, turn it on, and it looks like it's making the rows, so I'm guessing we're planting in both of these just fine. We can square it up here. And that's probably about as far as I want to go in the rain, but I just really wanted the I just shut everything off again. I got to stop doing that. But yes, so we were able to plant in both cultivated and in a seed bed, but we couldn't do either till we had finished what we were doing. So, all right, guys, I don't actually want to plant in the rain. I just wanted to see if those would work, but I'm fine going ahead and letting these workers finish off those fields. I'm going to go ahead and cut the episode here. I'll catch up with you guys at noon or 1 o'clock when these fields are a little bit farther ready to go, and we will start seeding. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't yet, and ring that bell. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.